Okay. Now, this quantification and costing, we design it in a way that it will help to everybody. Even you want to go for RICS or you want to apply it into the industry, this will help you that if you're going through uh, this order. So if you are a QS, we design it here. What you need to understand what is quantification and costing first. So after that, you can move little further. Then you need to understand what are the method of measurement is available. That is the most important thing, to understand the method of measurements. And then we will explain you in principle. We will not go in depth how to do the measurement, but we will explain you in principle how you drive the measurement along with the standard method of measurement, how you're going to do or how you're going to perform the measurement works along with the standard method of measurement. Then the most important part in the QS is pricing. So pricing is not just taking the quotation, is applying to the quantities. There are so many factors as to consider while you are pricing, in terms of locations, in terms of climatic conditions, in terms of client, in terms of consultant. So many factors as to consider in the pricing. So we will tell you that what are the risks in pricing and how to do the pricing, and what are the challenges. Almost we will talk about practical experience here, because I know that you all come through a background of QS and you know what is pricing and you know what is method of measurements. But we will not talk in academical perspective. We will guide you along with the practical experience. So we will share our experience, what we have been facing in the industries and what are the solutions for that. So finally, valuation. This is another core part of the quantity surveying. So how we do a payment, variations, and prime cost and provisional sum, because this is not going to cover in other section, because after that we will do some like procurement, contraction, commercial things. This payment and variation, prime cost and provisional sum are missing mostly. So I added that section here. And also someone else is requested that they need about to know about this prime cost and administration and provisional sum administration. So without delaying it, we'll go to the introduction. So now everybody hear about the commercial manager. Everyone, we talk about the commercial manager. We talk about how much commercial manager, how the capacity of his work and how much is gaining, how much is uh, what is the load of the work, and everyone know about that. But nobody know what is the commercial manager role. If you ask, even I was in interview, RICS interview past 2 3 years. Uh, the guy who spent a lot of his time to study RICS, and finally on the hot sheet, I asked him that what is commercial manager, what he's doing, and what is his role. Mm, Most of them not exactly know what is his role. They just say commercial manager. So we need to know what is commercial manager, what he's doing. So to know that, first thing is the commercial manager is dealing with the cost and the profitability of the company. His role is, for example, you guys are pricing the project, you budget it, estimate it, and tender it, you get awarded the project. Once the project is in your hand, so there will be a commercial manager will come to start the project. So once he started the project, his duty is, for example, your company is planned to gain, let's say 100,000 profit from that project. The budgeted guy, the budgeting team, your company had given Mr. Commercial Manager, this project we were plotting that we get 100,000 profit in this project. But the commercial manager duty is to enhance or make more profit. For example, during his work progress during the project in the post contract, he has to make it 100 to 150. This is his duty. So that duty, it's come in the post contract. That the commercial manager duty, it's come in the post contract, that the budgeted is given 100,000 profit. He has to make more profit than the budgeted. So that because of that only, the commercial manager is paid good salaries. Also, the company is giving a bonus for this. So that is a duty of a commercial manager during the post contract. So here the commercial manager has to involve in many the commercial manager has to involve in many role, not only dealing with the profit. So when you say profit, I think someone has switched on the audio. I cannot recognize that. Who is that? If somebody switch on the mic, can you please mute that? Okay. So he should not only deal with the money, or he should not deal only with the pricing. When it's come profitability, he has to enhance. He has to deal with the quantities, he has to deal with the quality, he has to deal with the pricing and BOQ quotations, so many things. So his role is not only dealing with the quantities, dealing with everybody. He has to go to the project manager, he has to go to the QA/QC, he has to go to the project construction manager, and he has to think and need to do so many value engineering, so many process. So the commercial manager is in the post contract, is making a profitability. So everybody think that the commercial manager is only working in the post contract. No, he has a duty in the pre-contract as well. So that is a different chapter that yes, once the project is awarded, the manager will call the commercial manager, hand over the budget documents, and he will tell, make the profitability to the company. So he will deal it in the post contract. What about his role in the pre-contract? So first you need to understand what is a pre-contract. Pre-contract means the contract mean is the entire the contract of the project, or the contract that the company is signing, the contractor is signing the contract on that particular date, probably before he few days is starting this the construction activities in the site, or during the beginning of the construction activity in the site. So before that period, which call several phases, but there are different parties involved. The client is there, consultant is there, and the contractor is there. So when the contractor will involve, when the consultant is tender the project, the contractor is collected the tender document, there only the contractor will involve. So there only the contractor will involve in the case of FIDIC Red Book, which is designed by the consultant and construction by the contractor, built by the contractor. So that place only where the tender document is collected, from that part, the contractor duty will start. He will start pricing the project till he get the project. So once he collected the documents, who will start working on it? The estimator. The estimator will bring the document to the office, or someone will bring the document to the office. They will open the documents. They will start work on the quantities. Quantity surveys on the estimation department will start work on the quantities. Estimator, he will go through the items. Then he will contact the what do you call, he will contact the suppliers and subcontractors to get the price for that particular item. And there is a commercial manager who is overseeing all these people, and he is the one is dealing with the management of the contracting company. So he is the bridge between the estimation team and the company management. So he is the one is going to decide the company overhead and profit. He is the one is going to talk to the technical team about the constructability of the work, and he's the one is going to talk, let's say, procurement department about the long lead item. He's the one is going to talk to HR department about the available resources. So the estimation guy is the purpose of it is estimate. He's the one, he's the master in rate. So he know what item, what concrete per cubic meter, how much, block per cubic meter, how much. If he doesn't, maybe he is doing so many estimation, no? So by heart he know everything. But sometimes if he is facing a new item, what he will send an inquiry to the suppliers. Suppliers will get the quotation. Supply will send the quotation, and they will start pricing it. They will make estimating and pricing. So we will see later what is the estimation. Now I'm going to talk here what commercial manager will do. What commercial manager is going to do. So commercial manager is bridging the estimation team to the management. So there are so many procedures here. How to decide the overhead and profit of the company, and how to price the preliminaries, and all these things is he has to consider that. My concern is here, during the estimation to the tender phase, there is a profitability that he has to think that, okay, in a way that he price the project, he advises team to price the project, also will make the profit to the company. So that is also is one of the commercial manager duty. But mostly, most of the companies I've seen here, they don't have, like a small companies, they don't have a commercial manager in the pre-contract. They likely have a commercial manager in the post-contract, and they are handling it in the post-contract and reducing the cost. So that is the role of the commercial manager. So now you have a clear idea as that who is the commercial manager, what he is going to do it, and what is the relation with him in terms of quantity and method of measurement, all these stuff. So then I mentioned here measurement and understand the quantum of the work. Yes, what you do when you have the quantification and costing is the part is giving you an idea about the project. I mean, quantum is, you know that now from here only you get how much the quantity of the work required for the project, how much the value of the project, how much we get the profit, how much the cost, and all these ideas you are getting after doing this quantification and costing on it. So that is a major that is a main part of the project that coming through this quantification and costing process. So then we're going to study that how to choose the standard method of measurement, because in the market you see there are so many standard method of measurements available. So you don't know what to choose. You don't know how they choose this standard method of measurement. What is applicable, what is not applicable. You need to know the basic principle. Otherwise, somebody can come and cheat you. That, let's say there is a client come and say, put for me SMM7 for my project. Then you don't know what is SMM7 and what is the purpose of SMM7. You cannot answer him. What you will do? Okay, sir, I'm going to put it. You will put it. Later, when you carrying out the project, definitely there will be a disaster if it is not suited to that project. Okay, then also we will see that about the bill of quantities. Someone need to know that how to prepare the bill of quantities. You may see many BOQs, but there are methods, that basic principle, that how to prepare the BOQ, why we go in these orders, and why not bill 1, bill 2. So many questions can arise. So in a basic concept, I will touch upon that, how to prepare the bill of quantity. Then pricing preambles is one of the main items. Many people don't know why pricing preambles in the BOQs and what is the purpose of it. And somebody's, I mean, I've seen many people in my experience, they said, remove these things, so many pages, 15, 20 pages, I cannot read it. What is the purpose of it? Nobody understands it. And preliminaries. We just hear the preliminaries. Even when I started my journey and I just hear the preliminaries, I don't understand what exactly this preliminary is doing in this project. So later, we get to know that okay, we know that it is a general item, general requirement, general principle, but nobody knows for what purpose. Somebody knows, don't know what is the purpose of it. So we will give you some insight of this preliminaries and the valuation of the work. As we seen earlier that how to value the work, we will see the call is pricing. And I just add this, the last line, to understand for you guys. You need to understand what is the building cost information services. We were living here in the Middle East. Most of us don't use the standard method for pricing. For example, you go to UK, there is a service called Building Cost Information Services. It's there in Australia as well. What they do, they release the index time to time for particular area. For example, in Australia, I can say Melbourne, Perth, Brisbane. They said that per cubic meter of steel this much, per cubic meter of sand this much, and all this information as cost information as they release it in the public media or the institution in Australia. I think is Australian Institute of Quantity Surveying. They are releasing it. In UK, BCIS, Building Cost Information Services, there is an entity. I'm not sure that they are coming under RICS or they are standalone. Ashfaq can clear that. They are releasing the cost index, cost details to the estimators. Estimators mean not the estimator who work with the contractor. The estimator who work with the client, he will make a cost to the project. During the pre-contract stage, you have a several stages, no? For example, a concept stage, schematic stage, detail stage, and tendering. So that time they are making an elemental cost analysis. Elemental cost analysis. For that, they are using this BCIS cost information to price the project. I'm doing in my current company, my core duty is also doing elemental cost analysis. So here in UAE, we don't have that cost database. We call it, this is a cost database. Normally, few companies like Davies Clanton and recently I saw Maze, and these companies, they release some data. For example, they will tell construction of medium finishes villa is this much and construction of luxury hotel this much. They give some information, but that information is not similar to the BCIS or Australian Institute of Quantity Surveying cost data, but they are giving some information. So what we do actually, for example, if the client is come to us and he will come with the sketch. For example, if you want to build his villa, he will come to us one 2D layouts, and he will say, I need 5-bedroom villa with this number of bathroom. So we sit with our architect, we draw a sketch. So finally we agree with him, this sketch is okay for him. Then the architect will give it to me. He will ask me how much the cost for this building. This is nothing. You get anything. You will not get any drawings or details or section elevation. Nothing you get. You just get a layout on it. So what you have to do, you have to go back to your desk and you have to see your cost database. So in the concept stage, in the pre-concept stage, what you can give it to the client, Mr. Client, you are asking 5-bedroom and this much of 1,200 square meter, the build-up area. So I have done a similar project in similar area. Or for example, I will say, I mean, we all from Sri Lanka, I will say in Sri Lankan topographic, we have done a villa in Colombo. The cost of this villa is 4,500 per square meter. But now you're asking in Kandy, so I would add some contingencies or some allowance on that rate, because you have to transport the material from Colombo or somewhere from Mayangane or some, because you get most of the raw materials for building materials. I mean, you have some scarcities, some this kind of areas in Kandy area. So I will add some contingencies on that rate. Let's say 300 dirham or the 300 real I will add on it. I will tell you this much price. So this is the price you can give in the pre-contract, pre-concept stage. So when it's move along with the design, let's say in the concept design or schematic design, so you have rough idea of what is the height of the building and what kind of foundation they are going to put. So that time you will start making on elemental cost planning. So elemental cost planning means that you decided, okay, foundation, this much of quantity of foundation, this much of quantity of tie beam, this much of quantity of grade slab on grade, this much of quantity of block wall, and this much plaster paint. So you elementally you break down the work, elemental work breakdown structure. Then you have a price from the BCIS, or as I said, this Australian Institute of Quantity Surveying cost database. You apply on it. So that facility is not here in the Middle East mostly. I didn't see that. But all these countries, they are having these facilities. The people who are working as a cost planner, we call it as a cost planner. If people are working in Australia and New Zealand, for them is easy to work on it. But here, what we do, what I am doing it actually, whenever I get the tender project, I took the BOQ, then I put an average. For example, in 2019, I get per cubic meter of concrete this much. 2020 per cubic meter of concrete this much, 30. Then I see that I can realize that, okay, average is this much. Then I took that price into the apply to the elemental cost plan. So that's how it's working in this part of the world. But other countries, they are a bit standard. Here is, I mean, I don't know, maybe they face some risk on doing developing that database. But individually, you meet cost planners in the companies. Mostly they are in consultant companies or the client organization. They will have that database. For me, I have my database. Now, with that database, for me, if you ask me the price now in any item, not the new items, any items, block work, concrete, anything, I can tell you by heart. Now, I'm not going back to cost data and look at that. So it will come to your heart when you're working for a long time on that part, then you will understand it. So, moving to next, let me tell you that standard method of measurement. So maybe for you guys, you will ask the question why we know about all these, but you need to know more clear about that, what they are doing it and why it went off, and also so many history behind that. So now, first, we all know that even we studying quantity surveying, we know there is only one standard method of measurement, which is SMM7. SMM7 means 7 is the 7th edition. There were so many editions like 6, 5, and 4. They, if you go to SMM7 on their introduction, they had given when they started publishing this book. Anyway, that is no more in the market when NRM is started. NRM, new rules of measurement. This introduced in here in by RICS somewhere in 2007 and 2009, and so many history behind that, because SMM7 is only focusing the building measurement. Building measurement means when you want to prepare the bill of quantities, you go through the SMM7, you go each element, you measure it. So the SMM7 was given only for that purpose. Same also for me. But RICS is not only focusing the building. RICS is not only focusing on construction of a building. They also focuses initial part of the building, which is a pre-contract measurement, and also the post-contract measurement, and also the maintenance part of the building. So one life cycle cost of the building is start from the beginning. I think there is a standard called RIPA plan of work. That there are so many versions, but I remember that 2013. Later that 2016, 18, they have so many revisions. This RIBA plan of work is given the old life cycle cost, old life cycle of the building, which is starting from the strategic decision. Strategic decision means somebody is in mind to start some building. That is a strategic decision to the end of the building. End of the building mean is not the people vacate the building and the age is gone of the building, then you demolish the building and you destroy the material of the building. That the cost of the destroying material also is included in this RIBA plan of work. So what RICS is doing it, they are covering the whole life cycle of the building. So NRM 1 is covered one part of the building, the process, and NRM 2 is covered in the middle part. NRM 3 is covered the later part. What do you mean that? NRM 1 is for the elemental cost planning. So people who work on the post contract, they don't see this NRM 1. So NRM 1 is dealt by the cost planner who was working before the tendering of the project. So as I told you earlier, that there is a cost planner as to price the building based on the elemental cost plan. So NRM 1 is giving you the guidance how you do the cost planning. This is a standard method of measurement used for the cost planning, NRM 1. But if you come to NRM 2, for NRM 2, there are so many competitors. For example, NRM 2, you have SMM7. Instead of NRM 2, you can use SMM7. You can use POMI, and you can use so many standard method of measurement. But NRM 1, I didn't see the market. For my experience, I didn't see any other similar standard for NRM 1. But NRM 2 is for the pure construction purpose, which is the later part that you're going to use in the post contract, which is you are using it to prepare the bill of quantities. NRM 3 is the facilities management. Facilities management means once the project is completed and you hand it over to the facilities management company. Facilities management company, we call it FM companies. FM company also, there is a FM managers and administrators and FM QOs also there. So all those people, they will use this NRM 3. So people who like us, quantity surveys, for me is the 90% of the quantity surveys, they don't deal with this NRM 3. But some of the QOs I see here in UAE, they work in the facilities management also. For them is they might use this NRM 3 also, but I never seen the people. But there are people working in facilities management. There are QSs. So what is their duty is like maintenance, easy maintenance and repairing and repainting, and so many maintenance work would be there. Then I think I have to talk about the SMM7 anyway, that it is outdated. We are not going to talk about it more. And the POMI, Principle of Measurement in International. Actually, this was invented by the RICS itself. But actually, what they feel that the need of this standard to be used all over the world, because UK and different country like New Zealand and Australia, they have their own standard method of measurements. But RICS is an international body. They want to give to the QSs all over the world one standard method of measurement. So they invented this principle of measurement international. If you go and see that it is very lighter version, there is no much details, and administration of this, if there is a dispute on the quantities, very difficult to administrate with the POMI. So then that is a main reason also they move to the NRM new rules of measurements 1, 2, and 3 to sort out that problem. And people who worked on the civil engineering standard CESMM, you guys know about this, and there are latest version CESMM 4 now. The fourth version, I think somewhere in 2013. I'm not sure that it was published, but the industry did not adopted this standard so far. I think.
2012, I think, no?
Uh,
I think 2012.
okay, it's still 2012. But I don't think Ashfaq they are started to adapting it. Very few people started using Sesame 4, isn't it? So most of them are
Yes,
still
in the
Sesame.
industry, yes.
Yeah.
But there are some updates after Sesame 3. They have done some updates regarding the previous Sesame 3 was actually linked with the ICE and FIDIC
Yes.
in 1987. So they have removed all these things and now they put this Sesame 4 as
Yeah,
contract.
actually, when Sesame 3 was referring to FIDIC in this ICE.
ICE, yes, correct. Yeah.
But now they decided to not to refer any form of contract. They want to be independent. So mostly, but there are, there is a comparison. If you want all, I can share it that what is the difference between these two. But most of us, if you learn it, then you will not use it much. So
It's good to have an idea because latest version you have to update as a professional, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what they have done it actually, they are bring it more user friendly when you compare to Sesame 3 and 4, because mostly when they're preparing the Sesame 3, they focuses only the industry in UK. Then later the people are started using widely this norms. So they relax and everybody can use it and they can tailor made according to their project. So one of the changes, Ashfaq, they say that what do you call that? The FIDIC.
Contract neutral. They say in the FIDIC system, it says contract neutral. It doesn't, referring to. Actually, they want to keep that document as an independent document without, linking to any other contractual provisions.
Yes.
That's what the idea is.
So anybody here working in this civil
Sesame 4?
Sesame 4 or Sesame 3? Anybody here in this team? See, we have to be interactive session.
Yeah, workshop has to be interactive so
Yeah,
that
it's a workshop. Everyone talk. Don't worry. Even you can talk in any language. We'll understand anything. So talk, and if you speak out only, you will gain some knowledge. If you just be a listener, then no use of it. Even I'm sharing my own experience because when you talk louder without any hesitation, only you can be light up among others. If we keep quiet, then we will be keep quiet for entire life.
Mufaris, shall I stress on some of the important points here in the session?
Yeah, I'm also just trying to read. Okay, if you have it, you can read, Ashfaq.
Yeah, there are some important points. I just want to give you an idea because this is if somebody wants this, a full session, then we have to go through. We need a separate session for this. But I will give you an idea about this Sesame. Sesame actually started around 45 years ago, and that is for the purpose of the preparing traditional measure and value that is there. this thing, and they linked with the civil engineering, ICE, Institute of Civil Engineers. Actually, they are the people who involved in this, because they thought of getting prices for civil engineering works. Why civil engineering work? Because it is different than the buildings. As you all know, civil engineering, when you start doing laying pipes, for an example, or if you start constructing roads, you may come up with different surprises. Like maybe you will come up with big boulders, or maybe you come up with crossing lines. So all these things will incur costs. So unlike in building, the building construction is like straightforward, that the building and you can put a price and you know how much it's going to cost. And even we have cost data, as you said, Faris told about BCIS, you can get the square meter rate and the volumetric rate or whatever, that the cost. The final cost is going to be like this if it is in this according to this particular specification. But civil engineering is not, you can't predict where you're going to end up with the cost. So because of that, the rates, the contractor puts the rates in, has to be perfect. So that is the main idea of it. So if you go through this, that the main important points is the definitions. I will quickly go through it. The definitions are like original surface. They're defining original surface. What is the original surface? Final surface, commencing surfaces, and then excavated surface likewise. So all these definitions, they're given so that the pricing person can price it properly. For an example, if you read through, if you have the SESAM with you, then it's easier. I don't know whether you'll have the SESAM with you. Okay, but I will just give you an idea. For an example, final surface. Final surface means that is the drawing that that indicates if you excavate something, and that if you reach the drawing elevation, that is the final surface. They say commencing surface. Some of them, commencing surface is different than the final surface. Commencing surface is something has excavated and then you are starting from there. Suppose you have leveled the ground, and now the commencing surface for excavation, level means you have taken off the topsoil, that starts from there. So that is the commencing surface. So likewise, there are some definitions. So you have to get familiar with the document. There's a definitions before, measuring. That is very important. And actually that now some people believe that you can measure only the civil engineering work, but not only civil engineering work. This particular SESAM, that you can use it for building as well. There is a section called class Z. So they are the simple buildings you can measure under that class. So this method of measurement is very specific. For everything they have given in detail how to do it. Not like now POMI, actually you can see POMI is just an item and just a glance only, so that you will be able to cover it under preambles. As you said, preambles covers the detail part of POMI. If a building is measured under POMI, then if you refer to preambles, you can see the detail part, how you're going to measure it, how the bill of quantity is measured. But if you take SESAM is different. SESAM now giving everything now coding system. There's a coding system, how you're going to code items. For an example, if you say class H, the precast concrete. So precast concrete falls on the class H. So there are different divisions. So the different divisions, 1, 2, 3, 4. So division 1, beams. So you can measure under 1 beams, and the length they have given, specific length, that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, like. So if you say 3, number 3, the length is like 7 to 10 meters. So 7 to 10 meters, whatever beams comes under that category. So you can measure it. Third division is the mass, the concrete and the steel mass. based on that weight of the 5 to 10 ton or whatever you can put there. So this is very specific, so that the price, the even contractors or tenderers, when they price, they have to put a specific price. So the comparison is very easy. When you compare one item to another item, then you will see if there's any difference. Then you can notice at the time of tender evaluation. Is very important. So the coding, when you see a bill of quantity of this SESAM bill of quantity used by SESAM, you will see that simple description, but the codes, you will see that it starts with an English letter and then it goes on with numbers. That is basically 3 numbers you will get. So if you're going into detail, then there are other things involved, but if you have another session, we can explain more on that. And the other thing is, Mufaris, I want to tell you about the method-related charges. Method-related charges, that is very important. Now, if you go through these preliminary general items under SESAM, the general items describes certain items on the method-related charges. So these method-related charges are linked with those rates. So the contractor, how he is going to perform that particular activity. Like so, for an example, excavation. Excavation, maybe he needs a bulldozer, or maybe he needs an excavator. So those excavators and everything he has put here because he is going to do the excavation on that method. He's going to use it on that basis. So that method related charges will not be able to change even if the contractor try to change his method. No one can change. Once you agree, that's it. But the contract administrator, suppose if you issue a variation, for an example, change, right? So if the owner is issuing a change, at that time, the contractor can come up with his he can change that this thing. He is entitled for the change. Otherwise, he can't change even if he is performing another method. So that is the most important things that you must understand through this SESAM. But we can't. I mean,
I think if somebody is interested, then we can do another session for SESAM.
SESAM, yes.
But it is more important things to know that because so many interesting things are there in SESAM.
And the other thing is now most of them, even if they are measuring according to SESAM, they don't use properly those codings. So they use it incorrectly. So it's better if somebody can learn properly, then it's very good. I mean,
it's like extra, because when you are working in a building project for a year and year, but you must learn about this SESAM. It's like learning in another language. It will help you anywhere you go because that is a depth that give you the depth knowledge how you derive, how you read the standard method of measurement. Because if you know how to do the SESAM, then you will do everything NRM1, SMM7, everything will be easy for you. So that if you all required, but I don't think that there are people who work in the infrastructure. So we will do another session for SESAM, isn't it, Ashfaq?
Yeah, there are many things, you need to understand the measurement rules, definition, coverage rules. So all these things, very important when you measure, that you should be thorough on those. Otherwise, they just, like take up the quantities without any idea. So that will make the error in the bill of quantity as well as the price. The pricing person also, he prices according to SESAM, but the rates will not come the accurate rate. So that will be a disaster.
Okay. So then there is a code of measuring practice. I think if you all Google it and check that RICS code of measuring practice, you'll understand why this standard is there. RICS code of measuring practice is also one of the guidance. It is not standard method of measurement, but it is the practice. It is a guidance that how you need to do measurement. For example, let's say a gross external floor area. So people have a question, if it is a gross external floor area, people will ask the question that, for example, here you have a wall. For example, here you have a room. Okay, then this is your block. And you have a partition also here. So then you see here, this is your foundation or the plinth beam, and you have a block is here. So people will start ask, okay, you said gross external, so should I take the external here or here? Then they will ask, okay, I want to take this room. I want to take this room of the gross external area. So I want to take this line or center line. So many questions will come. If some of your senior come and say, give me the cross external area for room A, okay, then you don't know what is a gross external area. So that is what RICS is given a standard guidance to the people who are involving in this measurement. They need to refer this code of measuring practice. They should tell, okay, gross external area is you have to come to the external part here. Then when there is a room you are taking internal, then you have to come to the center line of the room. So that is a guidance. So this is not a standard method of measurement. This is a guidance that how you administrate this measurement. So don't mix with this, because even I get confused till certain time that what this code of measuring practice is doing with that. We never came across while we are studying, or we were doing we were working here. But when if you go and in-depth study on this, you will understand that what it is doing in the industry. Mostly people who work with the contractor in the post contract, you might not needed this code of measuring practice. But for me, I'm working in the pre-contract. I've seen many people asking, even my architect come and ask me, what is this? What is gross internal area? What is gross external area? What is net area? So these all guidance is given under this practice. So if somebody is raising this question to you in your company, so you might familiar that what it is doing. So that's all about the standard method of measurement. So when it's come, we will study it in details, because this one we will study in cost plan in detail how we are going to use this one. This one we will study this for me we will study during this session, this cost quantification and costing session. This NRM one, unfortunately, even NRM 3, unfortunately, even I don't know about this. This used by the facilities management, and even if we can read and understand, but I'm not sure that I'm not familiar with this. And all these two, and we will see, we will study what is the difference between these two. Then we will study, we will take some of the key items from there. For example, concrete, road, and street lights, and utility services. Then we will tell you that how to do that. Because I'm not much familiar that we have to find out somebody who is familiar with this. Otherwise, I need to recall my previous experience. So maybe Ashfaq might know about this, because he worked mostly in infrastructure things. Okay. Then we moving to next slide. What it is talk about the measurement. So that this is purely a measurement things. I think I want to skip that part, but before that I have something to tell you. Okay, now here. Okay, before we move into the measurement part, let me talk something about the I remember that I was mentioning it here. Okay. Anyway, the main thing is, let me share with you one of the BOQ. Then we will start from there itself. Okay. Okay, this is, you can see the screen, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can see the screen, yeah? Okay. Okay. I took, this is as a sample BOQ index, content of the BOQ. So here, this is one of the mosque project. So here, you can see that we are going to talk about the content of the BOQ, what BOQ is consist, how we categorize each things. But this is not that you have to take it to all the project and do it. That depend on your project. For example, first thing is when the contractor is open, or when the parties is open the BOQ, they have to see the guidance. What I'm mentioning here, it is an index of the BOQ. So they need to know where, it what part. For example, preliminary is on which page, pricing preambles in which page, a general summary on which page. So they have to see it on the front first. So when you open the cover of the BOQ, this will reflect as in the front. Then later, once it is moved, then it's starting pricing preambles. So this pricing preambles is the most important part of the bill of quantities. For me, if you say there is no pricing preambles and no BOQ, no use of bill of quantities without a pricing preamble. Now I'm going to ask you people who's working in the industry, or people who's trying to work in the industry, tell me why we need a pricing preambles in the project. Try to speak forward whatever is you know about the pricing preambles. Why we need a pricing preambles in the project. Anybody? Huh?
So even if you, I mean, if it's wrong, it doesn't matter, you know, like.
Yeah, it's okay. You all are our brothers. Our aim is to feed you some knowledge, whatever we have. That's all. Even we are not a professors, but we have some certain knowledge.
Share that.
We have to share it. That is what our aim also, because I mean, we have also a lot of work. We are with families and studies and works and all, but we spare our time with the busy schedule to give you some knowledge. At least few of you guys get some ideas from this, and you'll be more happy. So
Is it
now,
yeah, the session is boring, or you want something, you know, like we should know, no? I mean, your feedback, right, Mufaris?
yeah, that's right, and that's what my question is. The end of the session, but
You can see some people are coming in, some people are exiting in the platform. So I don't know whether. So it will
yeah, let's
interest.
see that we will be doing a surveying at the end of the session. That's right. So someone, people who worked on the industry here, I mean, I can see many are working already somewhere in UAE and Qatar. So when you work on the project, you might see some documents, which is bill of quantities, bill 1, bill 2, bill 3, and summaries, and so many things. So one of them is a pricing preamble. So why we need a pricing preamble? Maybe you might study it somewhere. What is the purpose of it? Let me tell you, I will tell you after one or two of you give some ideas. I will tell you, I will explain you why we need a pricing preamble.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think preamble, it will give a complete idea of a BOQ because it will explain the items or the method which is not included in the BOQ, or and how we are going to measure, or how we are going to take I mean, adjustment for the PC and PS items. So I think the preambles is uh, it is the one completing the BOQ. I think is it okay? Is it just my suggestion or understanding?
Yeah. Is it Abdul Muhammad Nazar?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. You are in from Qatar, huh?
No, from Dubai.
Oh, from Dubai.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you? Where are you work here?
So here in DIP, in
Yeah.
in a middle level company.
Okay, it's a contracting company.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. How long you're here in Dubai?
So for just 8 years.
Great.
8
Good
years.
try.
Yeah.
So you used to attend the seminars arranged by SLQS, isn't it?
No, it's very not regularly. So
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays I'm attending, so I have an
Great.
idea to move
Yeah,
forward.
you put a well try.
Yeah.
Actually, that's how the preambles is in the project. I need to hear from someone else also. Can
Yeah.
someone come forward to tell about that, your ideas also, why we need a preambles in the project. We will talk. We will discuss. It should be an interactive session. No, just not just open the session and looking at what I'm talking here. You must have to talk also. Then only we will not get bored also, no? Sami, you're there, no? Why we need a preamble?
The most things the preambles for the BOQ, we made the BOQ, the preambles we must include the, I think, in my thought, it's a percentage of value, like 7% something. But the preambles, why we need, it's our cost, it's like a free cost of the, it's like a preliminary, what we call like a, if you start the project, you need like some cost of the, like the expenses for the officers, like other things. So the preambles, we in my knowledge, the preambles like the best the cost for like a project.
Okay. Thank you, Sami. Okay, you had given some in the beginning. Had given some ideas about the preambles. So now, everybody knows about the standard method of measurement. What it is mostly used in the industry. Mostly, I think in UAE, previously they were using POMI. Now companies are starting to shift to the NRM. I'm not sure in Qatar or Saudi Arabia, but most of the BOQs you open it is based on the POMI. So what POMI, it doesn't talk about this. There should be a preamble, pricing preambles, and it has to go in that phase. And no, when you open a POMI, so you will see in the POMI. Let me share you guys POMI, then you will have some idea. Stop sharing it. Share again. Okay. So this is for me. Even you can download this in Google. You just search POMI, then you will get it done. Okay. Now, when you open a POMI is talk about the first section is GP is a general principle. Okay. So general principle is a guidance, is giving you some ideas, giving you some discipline. For example, when you start a company, when you join in a new company, what the company HR will come to you, then he will tell you that you have to wear this kind of dress and you have to go this to room first, and they have to do this, that, and this is your annual leave, and this. He will give you some instructions. He will give you some guidance. He will thought about you some principle. So that is what this general principle is covered. So this is not carrying to the bill of quantities. This is not carrying to the bill of quantities. So section A is the one is starting with our BOQ, which is we have seen the preliminaries. Preliminaries is the common term that we use, but normally standard method to method, it differs the name. For example, POMI is read it as a general requirement. But if you go to SESAM, it's called general item. But if you go to SMM 7, this is called I think is general. No, SMM 7 is the preliminaries. Preliminaries is mentioned in the SMM 7. I mean, I'm not sure, but I remember that. But this is common term is the preliminaries. General requirement is the preliminaries. So from there, A general requirement, B site work, and C concrete, and it goes up to I think is Q. Yeah, QR. Yes, R is electrical. So then somebody can ask the question, why our BOQ have pricing preambles first, then general requirement? Because I mean the preliminaries. Why this general principle was not there in the BOQ? So let me tell you why. What is pricing preambles is also is kind of a principle. Is kind of a principle to the BOQ. You have a BOQ set of BOQ. This general pricing preambles is given an idea to you what is this BOQ is content. So first, I think it's Muhammad Nazar. He clearly touched like 80% of the requirement of the pricing preambles. So first of all, I will tell you. I will open for you a general pricing preambles, so you will understand clearly what it is doing it. For example, this Excel file. It's taking a bit time for the Excel file. Allow me to open it. Okay. Okay. I think hope you can see the hope you can see the my screen now, the Excel file. Guys, please be attention on this. Pricing preambles is the main documents of your BOQ wherever you go, which part of the world you go. Pricing preambles is the one is giving you the guidance to the BOQ. Without pricing preambles, nobody can price the BOQ. So what pricing preambles it says? First, they talk about general. As you can see here is general. Okay. Then you come to number 2 is method of measurement. So this is the documents in your contract. This is the document in your contract. It says that we are using what type of method of measurement first. This is the first instance here. So because now there is a variation in your project. So contractor will come and tell you, I measured this foundation excavation with half meter working space. Then you consultant, you said, no, half meter working space is not allowed in your excavation. We have to consider the net measurement. In between, the client come and say, no, why 1 meter? We need 2 meter working space. So You need to know what is a standard. You have to tell the people who price the project that our measurement in the bill of quantities, for example, 500 cubic meter of bulk excavation or the pit excavation is measured like this, without considering the working space, or with considering the working space, what is the working space dimension we consider. This all comes from the standard method of measurement. I have a, before that I have to ask one question, but I will ask you after this session. Then after this part, you will understand more clear about this. So the most important thing here in the pricing preambles, this talks you about what the project, what is the BOQ, what is a lump sum contract, what is provisional sum, what is prime cost, and what is the units. This talk in general. Sometime you will not see this part, some of the pricing preambles, but the most important thing is should be there in the beginning. They have to tell that to the contractor who is going to price this BOQ, this bill of quantities is prepared based on the standard method of measurement for me, or NRM1 or SSM or whatever it is. So that is one of the reason we need a pricing preamble. So that is one of the reasons. Then moving to other section is called unit measurements. So if you go to your BOQ, you see a column called unit. You know, somebody will put the unit meter cube, they will put M into M and 3. Somebody will put they will superface this one. They will make it bigger on this, or they will make a small letters and they will put on top of it. Somebody will write in English CU and dot M cubic meter. So what is the standard in this project is we follow, because you go to the BOQ and you see one place is written M cube M3 and some place is written CU dot M, then you can challenge the consultant who prepare the BOQ. Your BOQ is wrong, because your standard method of your pricing preambles is said M meter cube mean is M3, but you write somewhere is CUM. That is wrong. You can challenge it. So that is what the pricing preambles is given the guidance to you. This is how the measurement it should be there. It is how the units should be there in your bill of quantities. Because you know, you go to different part of the world. Because you go to America, they don't talk about meters, they talk about feet and inch. And you go to some other part of the world, they talk in a different language. So the method of measurement as well as the pricing preamble should guide you that our BOQ is measured based on these units. So that is the second part. The most second part is given here. And other part is abbreviations. So that is the most important thing, because abbreviation is vary from country to country now. For example, we here in Abu Dhabi, we use it ADM, is Abu Dhabi municipality. So you go to Qatar, they will use a different abbreviation. So same abbreviation I'm using here in ADM. Some contractor is pricing the project from China. For them is ADM is a different meaning. So they have to highlight in the pricing preambles. We use some abbreviation in the bill of quantities. The meaning of that abbreviation is this. For example, is a BS mean it should be a British standard. So you go to BS in Sri Lanka, we will say maybe Bachelor of Science. You know, BSc, and you miss the C, and we will say Bachelor of Science. So something is, for example, here you see CP. CP mean is a code of practice issued by BSI. But sometime in the planning language, they will say CP is a critical path. So you have to abbreviate that. This is another most important part, that abbreviation should highlight it. What does it mean? What this abbreviation in the project? So that goes along here. Then the part here is the pricing. So that is a common part is for pricing, and also there is another part will go section by section. For example, I will go and show you something here. Builders works. Yes. After that is starting concrete, the site works. So you remember that we see in the POMI, the section B start with the section A is starting with the preliminaries. Section A is a preliminaries when you're taking the POMI measurement. Section B is the site work. Then you go along, other one is site work, then concrete. Then it will come block work, masonry. After that is masonry. So these orders here you can see, these orders are based on POMI. It's not based on POMI, it's based on what standard method of measurement you are using it. So what they will tell you here, each item in the bill of quantities is measured based on this description. Earlier what they said that I'm using this standard method of measurement. I'm using POMI standard method of measurement. Earlier they said, but in detail they are giving here, because you go to POMI and see the concrete, they say the concrete are measured in cubic meter, and the void more than 1 meter, it has to be omitted. I'm giving an example, okay? What POMI stated that void is more than 1 meter is omitted and less than 1 meter should be omitted, something like that. Few description, few lines they given for the concrete. But if you go to the pricing preambles, only it's clearly described what has to go, what rate you priced in the concrete. For example, in your bill of quantities, you price 1,500 per cubic meter of concrete. That concrete 1,500 should include what? Should exclude what? That is the detail is given in the pricing preamble. So, for example, for me, it said the concrete has to measure, because when we say concrete is composite of 3 main items. One is a concrete, is a raw concrete, the batching plant you received. Then you have a formwork at the site. Then you have to do a reinforcement. Okay. But you go to some bill of quantities, that bill of quantities does not specify that this 3 work separately. They put as a composite item. The description they write that C50 concrete, including reinforcement rods and stirrups, plus formwork with sulfide resistant concrete, including all necessary accessories as mentioned in the drawing and the specification. Okay, now this is consist of all the items. So you have to come back and make sure that the pricing preambles is consider that this is a composite concrete rate, or that is a separate for reinforcement and formwork. The pricing preambles only will tell you that this concrete rate have to include reinforcement and formwork or exclude reinforcement and formwork in a separate item. So that's how the pricing preambles will tell you. Second, the third most item is what is exclusion and inclusion. So first we have seen it that pricing preambles will tell you what is the standard method of measurement used in this project. Second, we have seen it that what is the abbreviation used in the bill of quantities, that will given in the pricing preambles. And the third, we have seen it that what is the inclusion and exclusion to be included in the bill of quantities is given in the pricing preambles. For example, now, as I mentioned earlier, that the excavation for the footing, the isolated foundation having a strip footing, the footing dimension, for example, the footing size is here 500 by 500. Okay, so somebody in the estimation department, when they are taking the quantities for this footing excavation quantity, what they have done it, they add here another 400 and all the side along 400. They consider that 400, 500, 400, 400, 800, and here is 500. So 1.3 meter into 1.3 meter by depth of, for example, depth of 1 meter. They calculated the quantities and they come back to the bill of quantities. They see in the bill of quantities less quantity mentioned in the bill of quantities. In the BOQ is mentioned something around 500, but you measured 1000, for example. Why? The bill of quantities is prepared based on the net measurement of your footing, but you measured along with the working space. So if you are a professional QS working in estimation department, before you go and take the quantities on the drawings, you have to come back and see on the excavation part. For example, here we come here and we see site work. The site work is here. Site work, generally the work is whatever is material including rock shall be understood is included. So what they said here, when you are excavating, if you are encountered a rock, okay, you have to include it in your rate. That is what they are telling here. Okay, so this information is not given in FOMI. FOMI is not given. FOMI is given, yes, but they are not given in detail. FOMI is given, yes. FOMI says that when you are excavating, if you encountered a rock, so you have to include in your excavation price. So when you encounter the rock here, that you have to include it in your unit rate. So why we will study that how to price the unit rates later. Then the next is keeping excavation free from underground surface or running water shall be understood to be included in except where the dewatering especially is measured. So what does it mean here? They say that if the dewatering is, there is no separate item in your bill of quantities, there is no separate item for the dewatering in your bill of quantities, your excavation part should include a dewatering also. For example, you are excavating to 1 meter depth. Okay, you are excavating to 1 meter depth. On the 0.5 meter itself, you encountered water. You found the water. Then you are searching the bill of quantities for the dewatering item in your BOQ. There is no item for the dewatering. Okay, so what you have to do, what this statement is so telling you here, if there is no dewatering in your bill of quantities, separate item, you have to include the dewatering in this excavation price. For example, your estimated the excavation price per cubic meter is 50 dirham or 50 real. Then you have to add that plus dewatering also here. Another 20, you get 70 here. So that's how it has to work. Then go to the next item. What it says, rate for excavation. Rate for excavation here, what they said here, rate for excavation, this coming back to our point here, excavation below water level in running silt or sand shall be understood to be included. But they said that when you are excavating, you encounter the water. If you want to continue the excavation below the water table, also is included in your rate. Trimming trimming the bottom and side of excavation to the width and depth as shown in the drawings and included removal of all drift and sand and dust rubbish which may accumulated on the site. Excavation, keeping the site excavation free from the water during the progress is included in your rate. So what they are telling you, excavated, for example, you bring it your excavator and you did an excavation. And trimming, when you do excavation by the excavator, you will see the sides and the bottom is not clear. There is a auger of this excavation will have a mark on it. So you have to trim manually. You have to remove the clear. You have to remove it. We have to clean it bottom. So this all manually you will do it, but it is included in your rate. That is what they are telling. Then the next item is manual removal of bottom layer of excavation, minimum 200 thick, just before the concrete blinding is included in your rate also. Rate for excavation, trench pit cables and like shall included in the compaction disposal. Dewatering, what they are telling that whenever you price for the excavation, it also is included the bottom compaction. For example, you replace the soil, and you are compacting with the compactor, that also is included in your excavation rates. And earthwork supports. So when you are doing excavation, sometimes if it is the desert areas or the sandy areas, it will try to collapse the sand. So you have to provide the earthwork support. So that also is including in your rate. Also, they said, sorry, the rate for filling shall include watering and compaction, additional material, multiple hand, temporary retaining boards. These all included in your excavation rate. So this will give you insight to the measurement in addition to the standard method of measurement, because standard method of measurement will not cover most of the things. So this pricing preambles is covered. Also, this pricing preambles is made it according to the project and client and consultant and the client requirements. So whatever is not in the standard method of measurements, you can come and modify it here. For example, as I said earlier, that concrete in the standard method of measurement is measured separately, concrete, formwork and reinforcement. But as you, as a QS and your client don't want to measure it separately, you don't have time to measure it all these separately. Reinforcement, you don't have time to measure it separately. So you put all these in the one item as a composite item. Then you have to come back to your measurement, come back to your pricing preambles. Okay, that that you have to amend it here. That you have to amend it here. That, for example, the rates of batch blindings and like rates for the concrete shall be composite item. Here you see that this clearly mentioned that the rate for a concrete is a composite item. Include for rate of concrete include for supply material, storage, plants, equipment, tools, admixture, trial mix, hoisting, the lifting the concrete, lowering and depth, transportations and forming. Everything is included. Hacking and surfacing and everything is included. Also concrete casings, joints, ceilings, thickness. So what they said that all the reinforcement and formwork, I mean, I could not find it here, but some of them, whatever it is a composite, it is included. Okay, here the rates of our reinforcement bar shall include the cost of calculating the preparing the bar bending schedule and approval of the engineer bending schedules. So these all informations will be given in the pricing preambles only. It will not show in your standard method of measurement, but we have to specify that what standard method of measurement. But the pricing preambles will tell you for each item in your BOQ. For example, if you go to POMI, we have a site work, concrete work, masonry work, metal work, thermal and moisture, then doors and windows, finishes, accessories, furnishing, special, electrical and mechanical and electrical. This all is here. Each and every item is described here. Then they said how you have to measure, what is included, what is excluded. Everything is given in the pricing preambles. I'll go to the last section. I'll show you here. Okay. This is the other adjustment, contractor adjustment, provisional sum. This is furniture, electricals. Yeah, the electricals. The last is electricals. After that, the furniture is given, the external work here, and furniture and equipment. It has to come section M and N, but I don't know why it's in the bottom, because the last section for me is R. Section R is electrical. External work is not given in for me, but this project they have mentioned the external work. When it's come to the external work, and they describe that what should include, what should exclude in the external work. And also, so we have seen that what is excluded and included and exclusion in the BOQ is given in the POMI, in the pricing preamble. So first we have seen it, what is the standard method of measurement is given. Then we see that what is the abbreviation used in the project is given. Then we see that what is inclusion and exclusion is given. Then we see that how to administrate the provisional sums also is given. How to administrate the provisional sum, how to administrate the prime cost also is given, because if you go to the prime cost in the contract, nowhere is mentioned. It will not mention in the FIDIC how to administrate the prime cost. It will not mention on your standard method of measurement that how to administrate the prime cost. some of them is mentioned, but I'm not sure that which exactly is given. But most of the case, you have to specify it in your pricing preambles only how to administrate the prime cost. So I'll show you that how pricing it, variations, quantities, contractor plant and equipments, employer supply only. Yes, here is supply only. Supply only mean it's kind of a prime cost. Then this here is a prime cost is given here. So I'll highlight you one thing here. You can see they refer one section here. Go to refer to general principle 4.1 of POMI. So wherever there is a supply only items, they have referred to GP 4.1, general principle 4.1 of POMI. You know that before the preliminary section, we know I showed you that general principle. So that is what they referred here. Then this is the prime cost administration, how you do administrate the prime cost. So I just want to ask you, the audience now, what is prime cost and why the prime cost is there on the project? Because we will see how to administrate the prime cost. Because people are getting sometimes confused about the prime cost rates and prime cost sum and provisional sum. These are some confusing statements, terms we used in the industry. So I just need to understand from you guys, what is prime cost? What is prime cost sum? What is prime cost rates? What is provisional sum? Because you guys also have to talk because I'm talking, and now my throat is get congested now. Just tell me that what is prime cost? What is provisional sum? What is prime cost rates and sum?
For prime cost, if the material is not finalized, so the client they will provide the rate for particular material. So for that we will add our installation cost and other supporting material and the wastage and our overhead profit and tools, and we will do the pricing. Later on, selection of material, that time the rate will vary. So based on that one, we will adjust the cost. Sometime it is additional, sometime it is omission.
Yeah, that's a well try, Nazar. Someone from the audience, do you have any ideas what is provisional sum and what is prime cost? What is Nazar, what does it? What is the difference between prime cost sum and prime cost rate?
Sometime they will fix the rate to adjust the cost. Sometimes they will fix amount.
Okay, so what is provisional sum?
Provisional sum, for example, for the swimming pool, if the design is not completed, they will put some amount to do that work. Later on, if they want to do after the nomination, they will adjust the amount.
Okay, why there is a nomination here? Is that mandatory to go with the nomination for the provisional sum? Okay, can someone? Yeah, Nazar.
Yeah, I didn't get your point actually.
No, I mean provisional sum. When we talk about the provisional sum, you said the nomination. So is that mandatory to talk nomination on when we are talking about the provisional sum, or it is not necessary? What is a nomination? What is nomination? What is the relation with provisional sum? Just I'm not asking question, Nazar, with you. Just I need to. You need to explain to others. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. For that, the mentioned amount, the contractor, he will add the overhead profit and the builder's work, like a certain percentage. Then after the nomination, it will vary as per the revised amount.
Okay, okay. Someone else who can give some ideas? Anybody know? Anybody knows about the provisional sum and prime cost and lump sum? Prime cost rate and prime cost sum and provisional sum. So I mean, suggested by Nazar, prime cost rates and prime cost sum. That is two different terms is there. So don't get confused with these two terms. This prime cost sum is not mostly used in this UAE construction industry, prime cost sum. Because if you go and read about this prime cost sum, some articles in Google's, they mostly talk about the sum that allocated for utility service connections and some kind of contingencies that are allowing in the project. It's kind of a provisional sum what we are putting in the project here. But now in FIDIC and in UAE part of industry, we are dealing provisional sum in a different way. But what I'm trying to tell here, don't get confused with prime cost sum and prime cost rates. Okay. So both concept prime. So prime is what? Is one material supply only. Maybe you hear about the term cost plus contract. Cost plus contract is one of the method of paying to the contractor, is one of the procurement most famous procurement route that used in the project. We call it as a cost plus. So what we tell, it's not a lump sum contract, it's not a remeasured contract. What we say that the contractor, you worked on the site, I will come and check your invoice, I will pay for you your prime cost plus your fees. So your prime cost means the cost you allocated in your project for that particular work plus your fees, your overhead and profit, or your attendance, or your builder's work, whatever it is. So that's how you need to understand that this prime cost. See, I mean, I wanted to ask you guys, throughout this session, everybody is coming and going and coming and going. Really, and I'm administrating, I'm talking, and I'm adding it. It really is a difficult task for me. So you guys have to understand also.
Maybe I think data problem, right? Sri Lanka, they have some issues with
Yeah, that is an excuse for Sri Lankans. Anyway, I mean, try to attend one time. Don't keep joining it, and really it's disturbing also. No? Otherwise, I need to hand over to someone else to admit. Okay, so the prime cost is, as Nazari said, that what normally it happens when client is coming, because I'm dealing with this kind of a case many occasions. There are many drivers to bring the prime cost into the project. One of them is client. He needs some kind of the finishes to the work, but he could not find the sample during the design phase. So he could not find the sample during the design phase to see, for example, flooring, porcelain tile. He don't know. I mean, he trying to get that sample from the Europe. He didn't get in hand that sample. So you called to the Europe supplier. He asked how much the cost of this material. He said, for example, 45 dirham per meter SCAD. So what he tells the contractor in the BOQ, he just passing his information to the contractor. Mr. Contractor, that I have idea to bring this material from Europe. I checked with the supplier, the cost of this material is 45 dirham, but I didn't know that I cannot give you the data sheet. I cannot allow you to talk to the supplier. because this is a confidential thing. So I will deal with the supplier information with me. But what you do, you put the price for your installation and add your buildability cost or a bit add your overhead and profit, and you should give me the price. Later, I will talk to the supplier. Maybe it can be cost of 45, as I mentioned in the BOQ PC rate 45, or it can cost 40, or it can 48, maybe because of the fluctuation. So that I will take that risk. If it is increase, I will take the risk. If it is less, I will take the saving. But you put your supply, installation, as well as your other cost, then price it this project. That is one scenario. Another scenario is client, what he tell during the cost planning. I was talking about the cost planning earlier. No? During the cost planning, he come to me and he said, okay, you see the budget is more than his expectation. For example, budget is 5 million. Out of that, 1 million is for the flooring. So what I did, I put for the flooring cost is the material price, supply of material price is 100 dirham per meter square, material price itself. Then with installation, I charge it, I put the unit price is 150 dirham. But client come and say that how much, I mean, I feel that budget is more. I need to get it down into 2.5 million instead of 3 million. So where we can do adjustment, where we can do a value engineering. So I will go back to the major item. I see that this tiling, floor tiling is 1 point something is extra, I mean, huge cost. When we go back and he asked how much you put the price for the tiling, I said it 100 dirham per meter square of material price. He said, no, just mention it to reduce it to 60 or 55. We will find the material matching to this unit rate. So we just suddenly, without seeing the material, without seeing the aesthetic of the material, we reduce it to 55. I made the budget. So what I have to do, I have to forward to the contractor for pricing. So by myself, I decided it is this material price is 55. Then I give it to the contractor. Contractor, he cannot, what he will do, he will price it to 200. If you are not giving a specification, if you are not giving the material data sheet, if you are not giving a sample, or you are not giving the supplier information, he will put 200 dirham or he will put 300 dirham because he don't know anything. He, based on his experience in previous project, he priced it for this flooring is 200 dirham. So he will price it 200 dirham, he will price it. So when it's come to a tender evaluation, you see it, you will think that, oh, I made it estimation of this material price is 50 dirham, but this guy, he priced it for 150 dirham. Why it's happened? So that is the reason that prime cost rate in place to tell the contractor, you don't need to go and search for a quotation in the market for this material. You don't need to search for a supplier to take a quotation to price for this item. I give you that, I tell you that this is the unit rate for this, it is a material unit rate for this item. Okay, you price it for this. You put your installation cost, you put your wastage factors, you put your buildability, you put your transportation of materials and everything you put. But this is my duty to bring this material to 45 dirham from the market. So when it's come to the later stage, when it's come to the construction phase, client, what he will do, he will tell the contractor sometime, go and search for a market matching to this price. If it is matching the price, bring the sample, I will approve it. So he will tell his consultant, client will tell his consultant, look for a material matching to this price. Or by himself, he will go to market, he will search for a material, then he will come and tell the contractor, I found the supplier for this and I negotiate with him a price. You give him a LPO or give him a LCA to deliver the materials. So that's how it deals. So if you understand the basic concept, why we need a prime cost rates in the BOQ, not the prime cost sum, prime cost rates in the BOQ, how it is administered. Okay, somebody get confused about the provisional sum also. And for the beginners, that they obviously they will have a confusion. What is prime cost sum? What is prime cost rate? What is a provisional sum? They have this kind of confusion. So this prime cost is not referred in any form of contract. This kind of a rates what we are seeing in our BOQ is not referred in any form of contract, but this provisional sum is referred in FIDIC form of contract. I think it's somewhere in, if you go to FIDIC clause, I mean FIDIC 1987 is somewhere in 55, clause 55 or 53, I'm not sure that 56 something, it's around 50. Let's talk about the administration of a provisional sum. So Nazar was talking about the nomination and provisional sum. Let me tell you that what is the relation between nomination and provisional sum. Provisional sum is a sum that allocated in your bill of quantities, that may or may not be carried out in the project. That client is allocated the provisional sum in your bill of quantities for some particular work. For example, he said that for the swimming pool, okay, there are two provisional sum is there. Two different types of provisional sum is there. One is a defined provisional sum and other one is an undefined provisional sum. So defined provisional sum in the sense, it's somehow the work is defined to you. For example, as he mentioned that the work is a provisional sum, is the sum is allocated for the swimming pool. As an estimator or as a technical guy, you know what is a swimming pool, you know how the swimming pool should be there, you know what is the sequence of the swimming pool, what has to done first, what has to done second, third, fourth, and you know the sequence of the swimming pool. Approximately, you know that how much time taking to the swimming pool, you know who is the supplier of the swimming pool in the market, you know how much the time, how much the preliminaries, how much the temporary work, how much the temporary services you need to give it to the supplier to construct the swimming pool. You know the ideas, it's defined in your mind. So that is called as a defined provisional sum, because it's somehow it's defined type of work, type of activities, type of knowledge, you know that type of the cost approximately, you know that. So it is defined provisional sum. This kind of a thing is a defined provisional sum. For example, light fitting, supply and installation of a light fittings, swimming pools, sauna and jacuzzi, and these kind of things are coming as a provisional sum. This kind of defined things. There are things is undefined. Undefined mean it's not, you are not clear about that. You see some and some amount in your bill of quantities. For example, 1 million is allocated in your bill of quantities, but you don't know what to do with that 1 million. Maybe client, he tell the consultant to allocate this budget for his budgeting purposes. Okay, so he don't know what you're going to do with that. He said that, okay, I need to arrange the finance from the bank, put this contingency amount or the provisional sum amount, undefined provisional sum amount, I will use it for some purposes. Nobody knows for what purposes. So this is an undefined provisional sum. Now you can ask me a question that as an estimator, what do I do with, how do I differentiate, how do I price this defined and undefined provisional sum in my bill of quantity? So there is a huge difference between this defined and undefined provisional sum in estimator perspective. You see, when there is a undefined provisional sum, you cannot allocate the time program in your baseline program for that works. You cannot allocate your preliminaries. Preliminaries is in the sense temporary work. You don't know what is the work is going to be done in this provisional sum. So you cannot put the price for the preliminaries, temporary water and temporary electricity, and who is the supplier, what do you need the services. You cannot price it that. So this is an undefined provisional sum which you cannot price in your preliminaries, which you cannot allow the time in your time program. But in the case of a defined provisional sum, you can allocate the time program. You know that swimming pool, how long it takes. You can allocate the provisional sum preliminaries. You know how much that suppliers take time to complete, how much water he need to complete temporary water, how much water need for the testing, and how much water for the commissioning, what is the power supply needed to that, and what size of site office is required for this MEP, this swimming pool contractors. This all you know that. So you can allocate the sum in your preliminaries. So this is defined provisional sum. So FIDIC is not mentioned what is defined and undefined provisional sum. They mostly talk about the defined provisional sum. So they say that this provisional sum you allocated, it can be done by the nominated subcontractors. Nominated subcontractors, because if you go to the list, subcontractor suppliers list in your project, there are suppliers, there are subcontractors, call it domestic subcontractors, which contractors can domestic subcontractors mean is the contractors himself is appointing the contractors. Named subcontractors mean it's the contractors that listed in your vendor list, but they did not tell they will do what works. But nominated subcontractors is they nominated for that particular work. For example, swimming pool, you put 3 people, you nominated 3 people, 3 companies in your vendor list. So that provisional sum allowed for the swimming pool in the bill of quantities to be carried out one guy out of these 3 people. That is nomination. But not necessarily the provisional sum to be carried out by the nominated contractors. For example, you have a provisional sum for construction of a bridge, connection bridge between these 2 buildings. But in your nomination list of your vendor list is not given any contractors for the bridge construction company. So it is no nomination. Nomination is not given for this provisional sum. So I'm trying to tell here, not nomination is not for all provisional sum. All provisional sum is not for nomination. Sometimes provisional sum client can come at the stage of procuring the nomination, that stage, because as per your baseline program, you tell that on 3rd month of the construction of this project, I will start procuring this provisional sum work. So by that time, client will come and tell you, okay, go to this company, do this work, this provisional sum work. Or a client may tell you that, okay, flood the tender or inquiry in the market, find out 3 companies to carry out this work. Or client may come and tell you, choose one of them from the nomination list. So that can be administered in different way. That we will see how to administrate the provisional sum later. So coming back to the point that what pricing preambles is given in the contract, as we have listed here, one of them is a general idea of the bill of quantities. What is the purpose of the bill of quantities? Whether this is a lump sum contract or remeasured contract or cost plus contract is given in the general. Then it's given what is the standard method of measurement is carried out in this project. Then it's give you what is the inclusion and exclusion in this project. Then it's give you how to administrate the provisional sum, how to administrate the prime cost, how to adjust the rates. So this will use you when you are doing a variation. So when the contractor is come and say that my excavation is including a working space, then you bring the contractor that lump sum, sorry, the pricing preamble he says not because he put the quantities for working space also. When you are evaluating the quantities, you see the quantities more. Why? Because of the space at this working space also. So that is how that pricing preambles, it helps the quantity surveys how to do measurement and what inclusion and exclusion and all these covered here. So that's all about today's session. Now we are in 9:30. Today we stop here with the pricing preambles. Then later we move to the next session is about the preliminaries and how we work on the preliminaries and what is the purpose of the preliminaries.